This is an open letter to my pink skin friends, especially my pink skin friends in North America. There is a word in English language which I think it's thrown about a lot, and I feel its job is to whitewash a lot of pain and, dare I say, remorse for past behavior. The word is Nazis. Nazi. The word Nazi is thrown around a lot in my view, and its main function, it seems to be, is to whitewash or diminish the extent of atrocities that were committed by all Europeans, all pinkskins from Europe, the crimes and the atrocities that were committed by all Europeans throughout the world. So, by emphasizing that Nazis were bad, I have a feeling, I might be wrong, but hear me out. By emphasizing that the Nazis were bad, and the Nazis were bad, and the Nazis were bad, and the Nazis were bad, it's basically trying to say, the Nazis were bad, the rest of us, just angels. No problem. We are the best that the planet Earth has to offer. And this is the feeling I get. This is why I feel they keep throwing around Nazis, because first of all, they're not even saying Germans. But we all know it was Germany. German people. We all have seen the rallies. So full of people. I'm not saying they're at fault, but more or less all of them were involved. Germany was involved. I don't think it was their fault. I think they were cornered by the British. I think the blame is all on the British with regards to World War I, World War II, and now that we're going to have World War III. Because remember, the British are the ones who have got the most technicians in Ukraine teaching Ukrainians how to kill more Russians. The British are about to bring us World War III, just like they did World War I and World War II. The problem is the British, and in general, the problem lies within whole Europe. It's not the Nazis. They don't even want to say Germans, so they pick the name of a political party that was in power at that time, which is that nobody in their right mind, uses that name anymore, because, it's a bad name now. But they're picking that name and they're saying, no, the rest of us, we're all good. We Europeans, we pinkskins of European origins, we're all good. We're great. The problem was the Nazis. No, the problem was Germans, and the problem of the Germans were the British. And the funny thing is, the British monarch, the monarch family, are half German. So it's the problem that these folks have with each other. It was Germans who killed Germans. Now sometimes those Germans were Catholics, sometimes they were Protestants, sometimes they were Lutherans, and sometimes they were Jewish. It was Germans who were killing other Germans who just didn't happen to follow the religion the majority was following. And it's not the problem with Germany either. It's just the whole European continent is violent, aggressive, paranoid. It wasn't the Nazi party who killed 100 million Indians, over 150 million Indians during 200 years of rule. It was the British. The fucking British were ruling India, and during the period of 200 years, They killed over 150 million Indians. 150 million Indians were killed not by the Nazis, not by the Germans, by the fucking British. 150 million is what? 30 times the number of Jewish folks who perished during World War II at the hands of Nazis, other Germans who were not Jewish, who were Christian. And they all did it. There are pictures that the Pope, the Germans in Europe had the blessing of the Pope. Although the Germans are not Catholic, I'm not sure how would they, need the blessing of the Pope. But everything Germans did during World War II, they had more or less the blessing of the Vatican. It's well known. Everything that Uncle Sam's managers did during the Cold War, with the Vietnam and the Korea and the Laos and Cambodia and, Central America, the Honduras and Nicaragua, all the shenanigans that took place, that Uncle Sam's managers committed during the period of Cold War in Central America, in Africa, Namibia, South Africa, all those atrocities were committed with the blessing of the Pope, whichever Pope it was, in Vatican. So it's a European problem. The rest of the world doesn't see Nazis. The rest of the world sees Europeans. It wasn't Nazis who killed 10 million people of Congo, 10 million people of Congo during the period of, I think, 20 years, 25 years. It was the Belgian people, along with their king, their rulers, and stop naming one person as, as the reason for these atrocities, these crimes, these violence. Just because George W. Bush was the president, that doesn't make it a Bush war. The Senate approved it, the House approved it, the judiciary approved it. Everybody in the street was manipulated into saying, yes, we have to go kick some ass. Whose ass? Based on what evidence? And now numbers have come out that about 4 to 5 million people were killed in the Middle East. And you're wondering, was Bush one person? Bush? No, it's not that. Just like it wasn't Hitler's war, World War II. It was Germany. This war was cornered by the British, due to, who has the bigger penis, and who has to rule and who has the big penis, and there was a war because the British believed they had the bigger penis. End of story. The British monarchy and the House of Lords, they decided, and when I say monarchy and the House of Lords, they decide, is because media helps convince the population of the narrative that the owners of whatever country decide. The owners decide and the media convinces people to follow the narrative. The rest of it is bullshit. So it's Europeans who have gone. It wasn't Europeans that killed over 100 million yellow skins in Asia. It wasn't the Nazis, it was Europeans. The French, the whole business of Vietnam was a continuation of business of Indochina. The French had a business with people over there, and that was, give me your land or I will slit your throat. That was the whole business. And then it became to Vietnam war again. Give me your land or I will slit your throat. And this is all coming from Europeans or colonies of Europe, that is in North America. Folks, people, I love you white people, I love you pink skins, but you're aggressive, violent, and to a great extent paranoid. Why I say paranoid, this is what I mean when I say, we already covered aggressive and violent. This is what I mean by paranoid. you are stating that here are the facts. Facts. Fact is, Europeans came from Northern Europe to Northern America, slaughtered 110 million Redskins, replaced them, took over the land, and said, now this land is ours. Fact. Now, 250 years later, a few of other races, other, some redskins that were left alive, and some black skins, and some brown skins, and some yellow skins, are, trying to reach the Rome, because all the money is at Rome of this century, that is United States. Some of these, other races, the browns and the reds and the yellows and the blacks, are trying to reach the shining city on the hill, in order to make a better life for themselves, because the shining city on the hill bombed their village out of existence. So now they have, this is what happens when you destroy other countries and other lands. The people of those lands, put their backpack on, and they say, hey, I see you later. I'm not going to stay in this motherfucking land, because the white people keep bombing us. The pink skin keep bombing us. They want the land. Okay, let them have this land. I go to their land. I immigrate to their land. This is the whole business of immigration. You have destroyed their land. They have packed their bags, and now they say, okay, you want my land. You destroyed it because you wanted it. Okay, here is the land. I'm coming to your land. Give me something to do over there so I can exist. And this is their whole business. That they want to, because you destroyed their. When I say destroy, please, read some of your fucking history. My, Pigskin friends in North America, read something about Honduras and Nicaragua and El Salvador. Read about how many coups d'etats were executed by, behind the curtain, by agents of Uncle Sam, some managers of Uncle Sam. On the up and up or under the table, they keep, whenever there's a nationalist leader trying to get their country together, because I've heard from many of my pink skin friends that they say, yes, they don't get their act together. The motherfuckers should stay over there and get their act together and get their own country in order. Well, they tried. But when they try to get their country in order, their nationalist leader comes into power and tries to get their country in order. That nationalist leader is going to be infringing on the profits of some corporations that are in Uncle Sam's land. Those corporations are not, when those corporations are not happy that their profits are being taken away by those nationalist leaders in those shitholes, they ask the CIA to go in and overthrow the government so they can have their profits back. This is exactly what has happened in Venezuela. The big oil companies of, in Uncle Sam's land had some interest over there. A nationalist leader came into power and said, fuck you, I'm not going to allow you taking all the profits out of our country to your land. So he became a bad guy, and CIA tried to overthrow him, and sanctions and this and that, and now half the fucking illegal immigrants into the United States are Venezuelans. Why? Because you're embargoing and sanctioning their government. So they pack their bags and say, okay, you're sanctioning our country, so we are poor. Okay, you want this land? Okay, as far as I'm concerned, let's say I'm one of the backpackers. As far as I'm concerned, here is Uncle Sam, here is the land, all yours. I'm coming to your land. End of story. You want my land? Take it. As far as I'm concerned, that piece of land that I was living on, for Uncle Sam. I'm leaving, I'm going to Uncle Sam's land. But then my pink skinned friends are in uproar that no, why are they coming over here? Because you fucked up their land over there. Not you, but somebody behind the curtain in CIA fucked up their land over there. Every time they try to make something out of their country, making something out of their country means nationalism, means You know, the guy who comes into power and says, I'm not going to allow foreign corporations take all the profits from our lands. We're going to stop that. And once that stops, he's overthrown by the CIA. That's interference. You actually never, you my pink skin friends, never allow them to get on their feet. As soon as they try to get on their feet, you pull the rug from underneath them and you bring another leader, some incompetent jackass who's willing to sell his people for a little money. Folks, here's the thing. It wasn't the Nazis. It wasn't the Nazis. It wasn't the Nazis who killed over 250,000 people in Australia. Native blackskins of Australia were killed not by the Nazis, not even by the Germans, by the fucking British. Over 500,000 people of Algeria were not killed by the Nazis or the Germans. They were killed by the French. 2-3 million Somalians so far have not been killed by the Nazis. They were killed by NATO, a coalition of pink-skinned countries. Folks, this idea South Africa, the biggest South Africans were not Nazis. The white people in South Africa who were during their rule, they killed over 10 million South Africans. They weren't Nazis, they weren't Germans, they were Europeans of different backgrounds, many of them British, and they were backed by the British. And Uncle Sam's manager at that time, Mr. Reagan, was a strong supporter of South Africa because it's a pink skin fortification in a black skin Africa. Because simple reason why these folks so vehemently supported South African white government, it was because it was a pink skin fortification at a very important place at the tip of black skin Africa. It's all racial. The reason for the support of Israel so much by other pink skin countries in this world, that is Europe and North America, the reason for so much support of Israel is because they're pink skin. 85% of the population of Israel have immigrated from Europe to Israel. It's not about their religion, it's that they're pink skin. End of story. It's a race thing. That's why they all support it. All the people in the Middle East, the brown skins, see that this is brown skin land, and the pink skins have just, parachuted in and declared it their own land. That is Israel. They just parachuted in, literally in some cases, during the war that they had with the locals. The 7-Day War was a war between European settlers in Asia and the brown skins locals, the brown skin locals. End of story. It wasn't about religion. Yeah, they made it about religion, but it's not. It's race. Just like the fight between the settlers, European settlers in East America, the colonies, the fight between them and the local redskin was not religious. Although I'm sure at that time they pretended it was religious. I'm sure at the time that the settlers were fighting the local, the natives, the redskins of North America, I'm sure at that time they called it a religious war. We are, I guess, the people that Europeans didn't want. The Puritans and the Amish and whatever fundamentalist religious sects of Christianity that was present in Europe were basically either were pushed out, or they found it more convenient to pack and leave because they were being persecuted by other Europeans, by the majority of their country, whatever religion they had. Folks, this is all European problem. This is all pink skin problem. You folks are aggressive, violent, and paranoid. So the continuation of the paranoia, the continuation of that matter of immigration, These folks are trying to get to the shining city on the hill, so maybe nobody bombs them in the shining city on the hill. Maybe with the hopes that if they live in Washington D.C., Washington D.C. is not going to bomb them. Just imagine this, that the guy from Honduras, the guy from Afghanistan, is trying to illegally immigrate to United States for the simple reason that they feel Washington D.C. bombed their village on the other side of the fucking planet, but they are sure the one place that Washington D.C. will not bomb is Washington D.C. Therefore, they're going to Washington D.C. just because they want a peaceful life. They just got bombed out by the pinkskins or pinkskin agents in their neighborhood. They just got bombed. People of Yemen. If they could find a way to immigrate to the United States, I believe every one of them would. Because the bombs that Uncle Sam's managers have sold to Saudi Arabia have been destroying their homes and their cities for the past 10, 20 years. 10 years, at least. So it's understandable that every one of them wants to move to the shiny city on the hill. Not because they're chasing American dream. No, Mrs. Greenie, they're not here to chase American dreams. They're here because their village was bombed either by you pinkskins directly or by a third party who purchased their bombs from you. Their village got destroyed, so they're figured out, even in their feeble mind, they understand that the guys who are bombing them, they will never bomb their own city. So let me go live in their own city. So they're all headed to Washington, D.C. This is not that difficult to understand. They're not here to rob you of your American dream. They're just here because their village was bombed. They're here to, they're moving to a place that they're sure it's not going to be bombed. Illegal immigration has one simple solution. If you don't interfere in those shitholes and don't bomb them, either directly or indirectly through friends, if you don't destroy their land, they will not come to your land. Period. Ukraine, all these illegal immigrants, well, they try to immigrate illegally, but because they were white, or let's say pink skin, they were given a pass at all immigration posts. Sort of like, no. Let these guys, so these guys are not brown Mexicans and brown El Salvadorans and the brown Brazilians and the brown Venezuelans. No, these are white, original white, in their original packaging from Europe. They can move to the head of the line. They don't need to immigrate here illegally. We give them legal pass. Europeans have always been allowed to United States legally. You don't need to wait in line. If you're a European, want to come to the United States, yeah. But remember that the causing factor, the primary cause of this immigration, whether legal or illegal, is that you destroyed their country. You're selling the weapons that is being used to destroy their land. So their village got destroyed, they moved. The same reason the Hondurans are moving to the United States. The same reason the Venezuelans are moving. Because under sanctions and embargo, their country is going. It's not because of socialism, it's not because who their leader is, it's not because of communism, none of that. It's because of embargoes that is being affected towards Venezuela. Their economy is going to shit. And their villages are falling apart, and their cities are falling apart, not because of socialism, not because who their leader is, because of embargoes and sanctions. So those people are leaving, coming to Washington, D.C. to live in Washington, D.C. because they're sure Uncle Sam's managers are not going to embargo Washington, D.C. or sanction Washington, D.C. The point is this, folks. And this is the paranoia. You think the paranoia of this part, when I say you, my pink skin friends, you're paranoid. The paranoia of this part is that they're coming here to take over our country. No, they're coming here to wash your dishes. They're coming here to wash your feet. These poor fucking Vietnamese, they didn't, wake up in Vietnam and said, no, I want to go to United States and wash feet. No, the Vietnamese are washing your feet because my pink skin friend, you torched their country. So a lot of them had to pack their bag and say, okay, I'm going to go live in the United States because I don't want to build something and see it get torched by napalm, by Uncle Sam's managers again. So this time I'm going to go to Uncle Sam's land and I'm going to build my shack over there, knowing that Uncle Sam's managers are not going to torch their own land. That's the whole reason. Even if that means I have to go over there and wash feet. And generation after generation, I have to wash feet for a living. I will wash their feet, but at least I know my shack is not going to be burned down. Folks, it wasn't the Nazis who killed 4 or 5 million Arabs during the short Middle Eastern war. It was the European settlers. In that case, it were their religion happened to be Jewish. It wasn't the Nazis who has been trying to control, dominate, colonize. That's what colonization means. Control and domination. It wasn't the Nazis who tried to control and dominate the whole Middle East, the whole Africa, the whole Asia, the whole South America, the whole North America. Those who didn't know how to fight the Europeans, like the Redskins, just got decimated. 110 million gone. Their whole race eliminated. You got 5 million Redskins left living in North America. 5 million. From 115 million, now they're 5 million. And some just put up some resistance, and they didn't get decimated. Africans, there were too many of them. Fuck. There is not a single country in Africa that some country, whether be it France, Germany, most of all British, most of the countries in Africa have been decimated by the British and the French. Just total, as in like, totaling a car, a wreckage. They just go in and rip the country apart, pull whatever resources, money, wealth they can pull out, and kill as many as they need to kill in order to get the wealth out. Or kill or abuse or use or abuse as slaves. Slaves in Africa, a French miner would have local slaves, those natives who until yesterday they were hunting and gathering. Today the French came in and made them work in mines under horrible conditions so the French can get wealthy. That's the whole business of capitalism. That's the whole business of colonialism. We're gonna go in, enslave the locals who are, until our arrival, had a pleasant life, working very few hours a day, hunting, gathering, and having fun. The Europeans went in, the pink-skinned Europeans went in and said, fuck you, fuck your fun, fuck your hunting and gathering, I'm gonna chain you, you're gonna go down this hole and bring up gold and diamond for me, bring up other valuable minerals for me. And then I'm going to pack all these minerals and ship them back to France and make myself a boatload of money. And fuck you, local black skin. They did the same thing in South America. They didn't use the local North Americans as slaves. They just killed them and brought over some black skins for Africa, because I guess they had more stamina. It's just, folks, my pink skin friends in North America. every time there is a question of race, your mind, you have so little knowledge of your race history, European pinkskins. You have so little knowledge of your race's history, what the French did, what the Belgians did, what the Danish did, what the French did, what the fucking British did, what the Germans did, what the Italians did, what the Greeks did. You have so little information about your ancestral home's history. Your ancestral home, my pinksin friend, is Europe. Every one of you is from some part of Europe. You have so little information of your ancestral home that every time the question of race comes up in the United States, uh, the pink skin people in the crowd, in the group, automatically their brain goes towards slavery. No, slavery was maybe 10% of the problem that the rest of the planet has had with white people. Slavery is just a 10% problem. 90% of the problem that the rest of the planet has had with white people, my pink skinned friends, 90% of the problem the rest of the world has had with the pink skins, the problem that the yellow skins, the black skins, the brown skins, the red skins, the problem that these folks has had with the pink skin is that 90% of it has nothing to do with slavery. 90% of it has to do with just the sheer aggressiveness and audacity and violence by which Europeans have been trying to establish their dominance in the world by literally taking over more and more land under their control. More and more land under their ownership. This is the problem. The pinkskins want to own all of the land on planet Earth. That's what colonialism is. You go in and you say, from today this land is not yours, it's mine. Because I said so, because I got a bigger penis. Because I got a bigger gun. 90% of the problem, my pink skin friends in North America, 90% of the problem that planet Earth, other races have with white people has nothing to do with slavery. It's your past violence, colonialism that took place. And please don't tell me that anybody else in our place would have done the same. No, they wouldn't. No. What you're saying is because we had power, we made bigger guns, we built bigger guns and bigger ships, therefore we were able to dominate. Therefore you conclude that anybody else in our place would have done the same. No, I beg to differ. That's where the idea when I say you are extra violent and aggressive and paranoid, my pink skin friends. You're extra. As a race, I'm stereotyping, but it's as a race you're extra. It's not. I'm not trying to diminish you or disparage you. A lot of this aggressiveness, violence, and paranoia comes from you have a higher cognitive functionality. It's not the highest. I mean, the Chinese are pretty good thinkers, pretty high cognitive functionality. The Japanese have pretty high cognitive function. The East Asians have pretty high cognitive functionality. Maybe sometimes in some cases higher than yours, my pink skin friends. But you, my pink skin friends, have this violence and aggressiveness and paranoia about you. Yes, some of that violence and paranoia can be assigned to your higher cognitive capacity, because higher cognitive capacity means you can think more, therefore you can imagine things that can go wrong, therefore you sit down and think yourself to death, become paranoid of how many things can go wrong and what do I have to do to prevent each and every one of these things that can go wrong, to prevent them from going wrong. That's mind working over time, being paranoid. An example of this paranoia is that the whole paranoia thing is, another example of it is that my pink-skinned friends, some of them in Congress and Senate, have decided that no. Just like we had Chinese Exclusion Act for immigration to the United States, although the Chinese didn't come in and eliminated the Redskins, they just wanted to come in and work and have a life. But no. Anyway, that was a Chinese Exclusion Act, so there would be not too many of them be allowed to immigrate to the United States legally, just like there is all other races Exclusion Act right now in the United States. Only the Europeans get a pass. The only exception in immigration to the United States is Europe. It's like Europeans can come in. Ukrainians, if you have an issue in Ukraine, you can come in through the front door. You don't need to go through the back door because you're pink skin. Now the new Chinese Exclusion Act, this is the paranoia at work. They are saying that no, we should they should pass a law to prevent Chinese or people of this country or that country or the other country from buying any land in our land. Peacefully buying any land in our land. First of all, you had to commit genocide against 110 million Redskins in order to own this land. Now that through genocide you are an owner of the land, now these certain other races, you see, through genocide of the Redskins, the Pinkskins became the owner of the land. Now the Pinkskins are want to pass a law to prevent any other races, some other races that they're suspicious of, they're paranoid about, to prevent those other races from buying any land in our land. So committing genocide and because of that becoming the owner of the land is acceptable, but peacefully going and trying to purchase some of the land is not. Because you, my friend, are not pink skin. You're yellow, you're brown, and you're black. Here's to my pink skin friends. No, folks, the problem was not the Nazis. As far as Africans are concerned, all Europeans are Nazis. As far as Asians are concerned, all people of European race are Nazis. I'm being frank here. As far as the Redskins are concerned, all people of European origin are Nazis. They don't know Nazis. They don't care Nazis. The Indians know the British Pinkskins killed over 150 million of them. That's all they know. And they know the British were not Nazis. The Chinese know they had the wars that they had with Europeans. It was way before the time of the Nazis. They fought the French, they fought the fucking British, they fought the fucking French. But they're still fighting. Now apparently we're going to have World War III and they're going to be fighting the descendants of Europeans in one of their colonies. They're going to have World War III. Folks, they're living in their home. Pinkskins are knocking on their door and saying, yeah, be careful, you're living in this home is actually not yours, it's mine. So understand who's the owner here. This is what basically the Pinkskins are doing to the Chinese, to the Vietnamese, to the Koreans, to the Malaysians, to Indonesians, to the Iranians, to the Iraqis, to Afghans, to Indians, to Pakistanis, to Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia, Liberia, Somalia, Egypt, Sudan, Morocco, Algeria. The whole Africa was one big European colony. Each European country had its own. They had their own little corral over there. little ranch. Congo was a Belgian ranch. You can imagine it like that. Namibia was the German ranch, and South Africa was the British ranch, and Zimbabwe was another British ranch. And they treated the locals as animals. Folks, for the rest of the people on this planet, Nazis don't mean anything. They know, they see Europeans as problematic, as aggressive, as violent. And very paranoid. They come in, they want your land, and if you try to immigrate to their land, they will want to kill you. You can't live on your land because they bomb it, and you can't live on their land because they don't want you to live on their land. You gotta jump in the ocean if you're not white in this planet. Apparently, if you're not a pink skin on this planet, you have to get on a little boat and row and, live in the middle of the sea, because the land belongs to the pink skin. Because the land belongs to the pink skin. Yeah, folks. We don't know not any Nazis, and we don't care any Nazis. But what we have seen is that people of European origins have been fucking with the people of the other races in this planet for the past at least 500 years. Really fuck with them. There was some skirmishes before then, but as soon as you guys learn how to build guns and make big ships, everybody on planet Earth, all other races were in trouble. And mind you, the Chinese, 1,000 years before you build your big ships to exploit the rest of the planet, to bomb the rest of the planet, 1,000 years ago, before the fucking British learned how to build big ships, the Chinese were building big ship, really big ship, much bigger ships than the British ever built, wooden ships. But they didn't use those wooden ships to go to other people's lands and put the knife to their throat and say, "Give me your land or I will slit your throat." Only the Europeans did that. As soon as they were able to do it, they did it. Europeans, people of European blood. Chinese could have done it, never did. They had the ships, they did their navigations, some of them immigrated and started living in other people's land, but never trying to establish dominance. There are a lot of Chinese who have moved to Indonesia and Malaysia and Vietnam. A lot of Chinese who have, over the thousands of years, they have moved slowly to different parts of Asia, different islands of Asia. But none of them went in to dominate. "Give me your land or I will slit your throat." No, they just went in, started working and doing something and raised the family there and became multi-generational native of the land, mixed with the natives of the land, in all those islands surrounding China. They did it. Immigrated peacefully, bought land and started living. It was only the Europeans who went and said, "No, we want to rule this motherfucker. We want to rule this motherfucker. We are the rulers of this land, and if you don't agree with us, we're going to slit your throat." One of the last ones was Hawaii. People of Hawaii are still pissed at the Pinkskins for taking their land at gunpoint. No, my Pinkskin friends, you're trying to whitewash your own unfortunate past and present by bringing up the Nazis and trying to blame the Nazis for everything. No, it wasn't the Nazis. People, the rest of the other races on this planet know Europeans as problematic. Nazis doesn't carry much meaning to us. Sorry, I'm being just a little frank, but you know, unless you know the facts, you keep misjudging. My folks, my friends, my pink skin friends, just go to Wikipedia, start typing in different names of African countries in Wikipedia, and type in the name of an African country, look in the map and type in a name of an African country in Wikipedia, find it, and go down every one of these countries in Africa. In their Wikipedia page, they have a big paragraph about their colonial history, and read that and see which European country, which pink skin, which folks of pink skin origin ruled over that country, tried to rule, dominate that land, and how many crimes they committed. Just do that. Wikipedia is there, Google is there, Wikipedia is there. Pull up these countries and see what is their colonial history. Which European countries try to dominate them by violence. The problem is not the Nazis. Please don't try to whitewash your unfortunate history, my pink-skinned friends, by invoking the Nazis every 5 seconds.